Hello everyone, I'm Anas Al-Ubaidi. Welcome to this lecture or session, and the title for this lecture or session is Withdrawal Processes and Ethical Concerns in Clinical Trials. It is part of the chapter that is about ensuring participant safety and ethical integrity. And of course, this lecture is part of the Advanced ICH Good Clinical Practice Certification course program by CCRPS. Introduction. In clinical trials, participant withdrawal is a critical issue that involves both practical considerations and ethical implications. The withdrawal process refers to the procedure participants or subjects follow when deciding to leave a study. While ethical concerns arise around ensuring participants' rights, well-being, and informed decision-making are respected throughout the trial. Key points. We'll start with withdrawal processes in clinical trials. Participant withdrawal. Voluntary withdrawal. Participants have the right to withdraw from a clinical trial at any time, for any reason, without facing any penalties or losing benefits. Example, a participant or a subject in a cancer trial might decide to withdraw if they feel the side effects of the treatment are too severe, even if they were initially enrolled willingly. In voluntary withdrawal, participants or subjects can be removed from a trial by the research team if continuing the trial would pose a risk to their health or if they are not complying with the study requirements. Example, a participant or a subject in a diabetes study who is not following prescribed treatments may be withdrawn to ensure the safety of the data integrity. And here is a diagram on withdrawal processes in clinical trials. Informed consent upon withdrawal. Documentation of withdrawal. When a participant decides to withdraw, the reasons for withdrawal, if given, must be documented, and the withdrawal process must be handled with respect for the participant's or subject's privacy. Example, if a participant withdraws due to side effects, the investigator should record this in the participant's case report form, CRF, or electronic CRF, or the other name, electronic data capture system, and explain any potential risks or follow-up care. Right to revoke consent. If a participant withdraws, they retain the right to revoke their consent regarding the use of their data for research, though some data may be retained for regulatory purposes. Example, after withdrawal, a participant or a subject may specify that their data can still be used for analysis of data already collected, but they do not wish to participate in further data collection. Withdrawal impact on study integrity. Data handling post-withdrawal. Data from withdrawn participants or subjects must be handled according to ethical guidelines. It should be excluded from further data analysis unless it is necessary for the integrity of the trial and the participant consented to the data use. Example, in a clinical trial for hypertension, data from participants who withdraw due to an adverse event may be retained for safety monitoring but excluded from efficacy analysis. Follow-up after withdrawal. In many trials, participants who withdraw should still be offered appropriate follow-up care or reassessment, especially if their health may be at risk due to the study treatment. Example, a participant withdrawing from a vaccine trial may be asked to visit the clinic for a follow-up to ensure their health is not adversely affected. Another key point, ethical concerns in participant withdrawal. Respect for autonomy. Voluntary participation. Respecting a participant's autonomy means they must be free to decide whether to withdraw without coercion or undue influence. Example, if a participant feels pressure to stay in a trial by a family member or clinician, this compromises their ability to make an autonomous decision. Informed decision making. At the time of enrollment and throughout the trial, participants must be provided with a comprehensive information about their right to withdraw and any consequences of withdrawal. Example, during the consent process, participants should be told that they can leave that trial at any time without any repercussions to their future medical care. And here is a diagram on how to ensure ethical participant withdrawal. Risk of harm, psychological impact. The act of withdrawal might cause psychological distress for participants, especially if they feel guilty or if their decision is not respected. Example, a participant in a pain management study might feel guilty about withdrawing due to the perceived failure of the treatment to relieve their pain. Physical harm, participants withdrawing from a clinical trial should have their withdrawal handled in a way that minimizes any physical harm, including the possibility of withdrawal symptoms from study medications. Example, if a participant withdraws from a drug trial, they must be carefully monitored for withdrawal effects or rebound symptoms from discontinuing the medication. Equity and justice. Non-coercion and non-discrimination. Withdrawal processes should be free of any discriminatory practices. Participants shouldn't be treated unfairly or coerced to stay in a trial due to economic or social factors. Example, a participant or a subject shouldn't feel they have to continue in a trial due to financial incentives or fear of negative consequences for their future care. Ensuring participant welfare. The welfare of participants should always be a priority, and ethical principles must guide decisions to withdraw participants, ensuring that they are not exposed to unnecessary risks. Example, if a clinical trial shows that a treatment is harmful, participants or subjects must be withdrawn promptly to prevent further harm, even if it affects the trial's data integrity. Another key point, ethical guidelines and regulations for withdrawal. ICH GCP guidelines, adherence to GCP. The International Council for Harmonization, ICH Good Clinical Practice GCP guidelines outline that participants should be informed of their right to withdraw at any stage and the implications of such a decision. Example, the GCP guidelines state that withdrawal from a trial shouldn't result in any disadvantage to the participant or subject, including loss of medical care or treatment. And here is a diagram on exploring participant rights in clinical trials. Regulatory requirements, informed consent forms, ICF. Regulatory bodies like the FDA in USA or EMA in European Union require that consent forms clearly outline the process and consequences of withdrawal, ensuring transparency for participants. Example, consent forms must explain that participants are free to leave a trial at any time without penalty, and this should be explicitly noted. Reporting withdrawals. Withdrawals, particularly those due to adverse events, must be reported to the regulatory bodies to maintain data integrity and participant safety. Example, if a participant withdraws due to an adverse event like a severe allergic reaction, it must be documented and reported to the trial sponsor and regulatory authorities. Summary tables. Here we have a table on withdrawal processes overview, table on ethical concerns in withdrawal, table on regulatory requirements for withdrawal, table on ICH GCP guidelines on withdrawal, and next we have the MCQs or multiple choice questions in order to revise what we have covered through this lecture. Question 1, what is a key ethical concern when a participant withdraws from a clinical trial? Well, most appropriate answer is B, as participants' right to withdraw must be respected without any penalty, as ethical standards require that participants' autonomy and decision-making rights are respected. Question 2. In the context of participant withdrawal, what does data minimization refer to? The most appropriate answer is B, ensuring that data from withdrawn participants is not analyzed unless necessary, as data minimization is about excluding withdrawn participants' data from unnecessary analysis. Question 3. Which of the following is a requirement for informed consent process regarding withdrawal? A is the most appropriate answer. The participant must be told they can withdraw at any time, as ethical guidelines require that participants know they can withdraw freely. Question 4, what is the primary purpose of follow-up care for withdrawn participants? B is the most appropriate proper answer, as to ensure their health is not adversely affected, as follow-up care ensures the safety and well-being of participants after withdrawal. Question 5, which guideline emphasizes the participant's right to withdraw at any time? Definitely it's A, ICH GCP, International Council for Harmonization Good Clinical Practice, as HIPAA and GDPR both are personal data, including the Health Data Security and Protection Acts, and definitely not D. So the most appropriate answer or choice is A, ICH GCP, as the ICH GCP guidelines mandate that participants or subjects have the right to withdraw from a trial at any time. And here we come to end of this lecture. Thank you very much and goodbye.